welcome to round 1 of this daily. Playing good old Temur Ascendancy combo. We have a couple of them in our opener. We're on the draw. We go Elvish Mystic into Eidolon Blossoms, cast Ascendancies later to draw some cards. I like this hand. We have enough mana even if we don't draw land for a couple of turns, barring something like a Bile Blight. We have, we're just missing blue for the Ascendancies, which we can draw into. I'm going to keep. Opponent leads on basic Swamp, go. That is not tremendously encouraging. And we draw Nylea, which is not great against black decks. Those decks usually have cards like Thoughtseize or a large massive removal, which makes it a lot more difficult for her to ever get online. So I only really want to search her up if we actually get a combo off. I don't want her in my opener. Okay, it's some sort of Mardu deck. Do I want to play around Bile Blight here, or do I want to play around another removal spell? I think it's more likely that they have another removal spell than they have a Bile Blight. So we're going to run our Elvish Mystic out there, attack for 1, and chip the turn back. Hopefully we don't get wrecked by Bile Blight. We do not. Okay. So now we get to cast Eidolon, draw a card. Hopefully start to pull ahead. Main deck Drown, Sorrow, or Anger of the Gods would be problematic for us. But those decks don't usually run them, or like Mardu runs 1 Anger of the Gods main. Plus, we can always just hit another land and then more action. So, okay. Opponent fetches. They're going to Crackling Doom us with the trigger on the stack. Seems likely if they're fetching right now. Yeah, that's totally fine. I don't want the Eidolon to die, but it gives us a nice 2-for-1. And we draw a blue source for Ascendancy, which is fantastic. There are a couple of cards that our opponent could have that would be problematic for us here. Basically, any fast clock. It's like Rabblemaster, Butcher, what have you. Thoughtseize is not something I'm worried about. All of my relevant pieces are redundant. Taking the Nylea doesn't do much. The second Ascendancy is fairly irrelevant when I have the first in play, so they probably take the Genesis Hydra. Or one of the Genesis Hydras. Yeah. That's fair. Okay, draw Sabertooth. I'm gonna just slam this Ascendancy and attack for 2. Okay. Next turn, I can draw a card off of Sabertooth if my entire board doesn't get wrecked. Storm Breath Dragon. Okay, that's fine. I have a faster clock. I can likely erase the Stormbelcher. Alright, we'll cast the Sabertooth and attack for 5 after we draw a card. If we get to untap with the Sabertooth, our opponent's gonna have some problems. Crackling Doom is fine though. Crackling Doom helps them. Bile Blight happened? Okay. That's fine. I'll go to 8. I need to draw land though, I guess. I didn't draw land, but cast Courser. If my opponent has another land, I'm just dead regardless, but if they don't, I think I win. So we shall see. They could also have a Lightning Strike. Crackling Doom might get the job done if I don't hit a land off of the Courser. So it's Wingmate Rock. Ugh, that's a problem. Okay, we get a Nykthos. Nykthos makes 5, that Coast bumps that up to 6. So we can just cast an active, we can just cast an active Nylea here and win. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna do that. We can cast pretty much anything, but yeah. Okay. The only card that we don't win against is Murderous Cut. But I don't, yeah, we got there. Okay. Hydra for 4 probably would have been better because that plays around Murderous Cut. Just, but our opponent didn't have it, which was nice. Alright, so we want to bring in Nissa's and Whisperwoods. We want to bring in Negates. I think that's everything. I definitely don't like the Caryatids. I don't like the Nylea, and I don't like one of the Ascendancies, especially on the draw. Alright, and what this does is it gives us a bit of a stronger late game, more staying power, and it cuts some of our dead mana cards. Like the Ascendancy, the second Ascendancy is totally dead. The first Ascendancy costs a lot of mana to get into play. It can be very useful for our opponent has a slightly slower draw, but we don't always want it. Negate is a very efficient answer. Whisperwood, Elemental, and Nissa are very strong ways to close out the game, and they're difficult for our opponent to interact with. So let's see if we can ride that a game 1 win to a victory in the match. Don't think there are any pros that I recognize. Most of them are either playing in Grand Prix San Jose or they're testing for the Pro Tour. Magic Lair I've seen on quite often. I think they're a pretty good player. Same with Pig Norton. And Sandy Dog MTG is excellent, but they only play like Sly decks, red aggro, stuff like that. Yeah, no pros that I recognize, so I don't get to have the chance of playing against a pro Magic player and showing you guys that match, but that would just be a bonus. Still have at least 7 games of Magic. On the draw, this seems a bit clunky, but the negate could really get us there. I'm worried about the pain lands though, because I'm gonna have to fetch out a mountain to cast the Ascendancy. I think this is still a keep just because I have the negate. I can counter something big. And if I draw like any mana dork, the hand gets really good really quickly. Okay, Temple of Silence. I think this is fine. Seeker of the Way is also fine. I'll just go ahead and fetch now. Pass the turn. Another Seeker and a Scryland. Okay, so our opponent does have red mana. Polychronos is a very good draw. Makes me kind of interested in casting this Ascendancy instead of the Courser. My opponent has a removal spell if my opponent has 2 removal spells, then that's a big problem for me. Let's see. Put a card on top. Yeah, I don't think I can afford the loss of tempo to just by I don't think I can afford the loss of tempo it would take to cast the Temur Ascendancy this turn, given that I would have to take the same amount of damage. Thoughtseize is fine. Should have just fetched a forest with the wooded foothills and decided not to cast Temur Ascendancy. I have enough of a late game and was on the defensive enough that, yeah. Okay, opponent takes Nissa, interesting. Abzan advantage. I sacrifice an enchantment. Oh my god. That is pretty gross. I'm taking 9 this turn, going to 6. And my only hope is to go to 4 and hope my opponent does not have a removal spell, which they likely do. Yeah, I would have like 2 more life. I would be at 6 right now if I had fetched out a forest. I wouldn't be able to cast the Ascendancy, but that doesn't really matter. I have enough of a late game. So really any spell just kills me. Bioblight doesn't kill me, but it might as well. Because now I just can't cast anything. Yeah. Alright, well, that was not good. On the play, Ascendancy gets better. A lot of my cards get better on the play. Nissa, I think, was just too expensive there. I'll bring in a couple of Caryatids just to help us fix our mana and get our threats down. Alright, this seems good. When one of the things about Mardu is that when it's on the play, sometimes it has draws against decks that aren't control decks, specifically blue-black. When it's on the play, it has these draws that are just basically unbeatable because they go Seeker into Crackling Doom into like Thoughtseize plus removal spell and into Stormbreath Dragon, and you just can't win. Like, no matter how good your draw is. Oh, jeez. I think I have to mulligan this. I don't know. So, turn 1 Thoughtseize, I have to draw 2 lands and 3 draw steps, which is not good. But I do have the Caryatids. So, I actually have a higher number of hits. Opponent's not likely to play turn 1 Thoughtseize anyways. I'll keep this. Turn 1 Thoughtseize or a turn 2 removal for the Satyr would be problematic, but I have a lot of live draws, and if I hit my land drops, this hand is almost unbeatable. So I get to curve Manadoric into Polychronos into Whisperwood Elemental with Eidolon of Blossom as backup if my opponent has an attrition-heavy draw. Yeah. It's a risky heap, but I think that the possible upside is way too high to ignore. So... Okay, we've successfully dodged the turn 1 Thoughtseize hurdle. Yeah, the opponent's playing a lot of temples. I don't think they're even playing Chain to the Rocks. So we can probably count on them not playing a turn 1 Thoughtseize very often. We do have to dodge the turn 2 Magma Jet or Lightning Strike though. or draw some lands. Okay, that's not horrible. Gives us a backup if our opponent kills the first one. Need a land next turn though. Opponent probably does not have Bile Blight because they let on the non-black temple. But we'll see what their next land is, because might be. This is a really tense situation. Again, if I hit my land drops, we're fantastic. Okay, opponent did not kill it. Oh, I have to play around Drown in Sorrow though, and like Anger of the Gods. So probably don't want to run the second Voyaging Satyr out there. This is not going well. Jeez. Okay. I mean, if there's a land on top. Oh my god, that's horrendous. It's getting crackling doomed. Martyr Charmed, okay. This is just absolutely awful. Opponent misses their land drop as well though, which means they're that much further from playing like a Stormbreath Dragon or a Wingmate Rock. Oh, Martyr Charm for... Yep. That's not good. We're still in a position where if there's land on top, absolutely fantastic. But it's what, now a 5-outer? We've had a lot of chances to hit. Okay. Well, we finally hit, but now our Voyaging Satyr has to survive, and our opponent has to not play anything ridiculously powerful. Okay. So that means no Stormbreath Dragon and no Wingmate Rock, which are the two things I was most scared of, at least on this turn. Butcher of the Horde would be a problem, though. We're seeing this is a Butcher, huh? Okay. Does have to sacrifice a token. So we're just taking 5 here. I use that term very loosely. Here's hoping the opponent does not have a removal spell for Apollo Chronos. We can untap and draw something really good. Nope. Alright, we're just dead. Pretty sure. I think we have to get lucky with Genesis Hydra. No. Alright, we are just dead. There's just literal nothing we can do. That was very frustrating. We had maybe 5 outs. We had like 5 chances to draw land. That if we would have drawn land in any of those 5, we would have been much better positioned to win the match. Or the game. We would have been actually really well positioned, I think. Butcher would have been a problem no matter what, but I could have sequenced my spells differently into my opponent's removal. I would have been on the board before they had Butcher. All sorts of things that just, like, it was extremely frustrating. Pretty sure the keep was correct. Because I do have enough outs. I just didn't hit them. Alright, well, thanks for watching. Hopefully we can win the next few.